Hey, I'm Pusher, and I just wanted to do a rapid fire trick today, something I figured out years ago and I've been experimenting with in a lot of different ways since then. So this is basically a trick to insert some randomness into your tracks by playing something and then sampling that. A lot of the time with sampling you're using like an acapella or a track or something that you find somewhere. But I've come to really like the more directed approach of playing something myself and then sampling it. I've started to figure out what it really is that I like in samples, and that allows me to create things that I can sample better. Also, you don't have to pay royalties on something that you create yourself. So I've used this trick for a lot of years. I'll play you some examples of how I used it. The very last track that I posted for January 2019 used this trick, and I posted a quick breakdown in my story of how I did it, but I had a few people like asking me what in the world I was doing. So I wanted to make a slightly more in-depth look at this trick and show you a lot of the ways that I have used it. So here's the January track. The sampling trick is what I'm playing on the keyboard. I used it in the song Tell You from my New Laces EP. It's the bells in the background. I used it in another January track called Ice Cream Truck. It's the chords. I used it in another January track called Swish, just for fills. Okay, now I'll show you how I did the trick. So I have 3 tracks open here. This is a sampler, this is Massive, and this is Contact. In Contact I have just the Giant, which is a piano sound, and I've tweaked it to sound like this. So what I'm going to do to start is in the key of C minor, I'm just going to play some random pentatonic stuff. I'm going to try to keep it to 1, 2, or 3 notes at a time, and just like quarter notes. Alright, that'll do it. I'm just going to go in here and quantize everything to a quarter note, make sure everything's pentatonic. Okay, everything's in the key. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make every note the same length here. I'm going to make everything exactly an 1/8 note long. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bounce this in place, which is just converting it to audio. And you can see now we have an audio track that has all of that piano part on it. Beautiful, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the same MIDI information and we're going to put it in Massive, and we're going to make a little sound in here. Alright, so that sounds like this. Cute. We're going to do the same thing where we bounce this in place. Now we've got 2 audio tracks. I'll mute this one as well. Now I'm just going to speed through this part of the video, but I'm just going to do this with a whole ton of other sounds that I've got until I've got maybe like, let's say 10 tracks like this. Alright, so now we have 11 tracks here, each with the same MIDI information printed to audio with 11 individual sounds. I'll show you what that sounds like. Now each one of these is set to a quarter note, so what I'm going to do is select all of them, and I'm going to slice them into little quarter note chunks like this. Alright, now what we're going to do, we want to be able to play these in a glitchy, random way to insert some like crazy, weird randomness into our track. Alright, now what we're going to do is select these totally randomly. Just going to select a whole bunch of them, try to get some from each instrument and some from each vertical column. Try to get at least a little of each row and a little of each column. Alright, we've got a bunch selected. Now what we're going to do is in Logic you can use Control E. I don't know how you do this in any other DAW, figure it out. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to assign these samples to a new sampler instrument. So that looks like this, and you can see each sample is assigned to a different key on the piano. So now I can play these randomly. So let's just get out a keyboard, and these are assigned starting on the lowest note of the keyboard, so I'm going to be way down here. You can just... That's what that sounds like, just going across the keyboard. And then the idea is you basically just fiddle around with them until you find some combination that you like, and then you can record it and make it into a track. Anyway, that's one of my favorite sampling tricks. I use it all the time to insert a little bit of randomness into my track while still being able to control the whole process from beginning to end, which is something that you don't necessarily get if you're sampling somebody else's work. And it's totally royalty free.